Love me do. Love me do. Love me do. Love me do. Been 1 week you look. Sloppy when I bust rhymes, speak like Leanne. Because I'm all about down, you bird campers. The laugh at you and that you just blame for what we do yesterday. Stop me now. Stop me, 'cause I like a tiger. 200 degrees is what I call me, Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. Supersonic man. You wanna have a good time? Just give me a call. I get out of bed. Explode. Such a good time. Work all night. Run.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? There's a delay. So today we're going to be covering phishing, tech support scams, acceptable use violations, and what to do in case you do see any of these. I'm also going to open it up to any questions at the end. So if you have any questions out there about anything that I cover, please feel free to pop that up into the live chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is phishing, and what do we need to do if we do see a phishing email, like when one of our users receives one, or if one of you receive one? So first of all, what is a phishing scam? To obtain sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and credit card details, and indirectly money, of course, often for malicious reasons by disguising as a trustworthy entity in an electronic communication. So what does that mean? Usually it's an email that we're going to see in our mailbox most of the time, and that's what we're commonly seeing here at Northside. So that's kind of what I'm going to focus on for you guys. So let's take a look at an example. So the first example I have here, this is one that was generated by my office last year, and just a couple of things that I want to point out. So if you take a look at the email address that it's from, some things that can kind of key in a user that this is a fishy email is that that email might be incorrect. Like you can see it says helpdsk@nisd.net. So it's not exactly the correct email address. So that's kind of your first clue. The rest of the email looks pretty regular. It looks like it's legit. It says, you know, NISD users, and it says what it's got to say, and it's asking people to log in through the link below. But if you hover your mouse over that link, you'll see that the actual URL isn't nisd.net/employees. It's actually HTTP, you know, IP address, port 8080, and a whole bunch of, you know, miscellaneous letters and numbers after that. So that's your next clue to, you know, tell you, the user, and your users that this is a fishy email. This is not legit. So hopefully those clues can help them, you know, figure out, hey, this is not legitimate. So this is what they need to know to look for. So let's take a look at another example. Okay, this one is kind of the same thing, but this one's not from an NISD email. So this one's from Ashley's Attic. Some things that, you know, as a user, you and the other users need to ask themselves is, hey, did I order something from Ashley's Attic? The next question you need to ask is, did I order this from my work email, and did I use my work email? And the answer to that is very commonly going to be no, because a lot of people don't use their work email to order personal items. But it is likely, you know, because a teacher could order something for their classroom using their NISD email address. So that's not totally uncommon. It's totally, you know, possible, but they just need to answer that question to themselves. Hey, did I order this? So let's take a look at the rest of this email. You know, I just saw this. I must have missed it. Please confirm. So a lot of times when you take a look at emails that are fishy, you'll notice things like the second I in that first sentence isn't capitalized. Some of those things, you know, like capitalization, misspellings, those are the things that they need to look for in those mail. And then also we see the invoice number. It, you know, looks so legitimate, right? So the next thing we need to do, just like we did before with the other phishing emails, we need to hover our mouse over that link. We need to tell the users not to just blindly click on links. Hover over it first. And if, as you see, it goes to http://fox1995.co.jp, some weird URL, which is definitely not, it doesn't say wowgreatshop.com. So, you know, that's their clue saying, hey, this is probably a fishy email. I probably shouldn't click on that link. So let's go ahead and take a look at another example. This one is pretty fresh. This one just came in the other day. Once again, it looks legitimate when you look at the body of it. You know, dear NISD employee, our employee self-service and payroll solution, you know, they're asking us to put in some information. But if you look at the email that it's coming from rico.manso, rico.m
spfamail.org.za. That's the first clue, of course. Where is it coming from? Is this, something that an email that I would receive, an email about our NISD employee self-service from? And the answer is no. You're not going to receive email from for employee self-service and payroll from some random person named Rico and from some weird email address. So the next thing that they need to do, just like we've done in all the other ones, is not blindly click on that confirm now link in the email. And I don't have the example of URL on this one, but as you can guess, when they hover over that link, it's not going to be the TSS or the tylerweb.nisd.net/ESS link that we should be familiar with. So that's their second clue. Okay, so clue number one, it's coming from an email address that is from outside of the organization, and it's very weird. And then clue number two is that the link is going to a weird URL. So hopefully those things, if you tell your users out there to look out for those two clues on these emails, hopefully that'll help them identify a phishing email before they click on it and, unfortunately provide their credentials and have, their payroll, employee self-service compromised and possibly have somebody set up a direct deposit to go to their bank. And we definitely don't want that to happen to any of our employees. So moving on, another thing that we're seeing a lot of around the district is a tech support scam. Some of you have probably had users seen this already. So I'm just going to cover what it is and what we need to do. So to help you identify it, here's some information about it. If you're seeing a random tech support pop-up asking you to call a phone number to fix your computer, then your machine might be infected with adware or a potentially unwanted program such as malware. Another possibility is they may have clicked on a link or mistyped a URL that sent them to a fake website, and that could do the same thing. It'll bring them to that tech support pop-up, and it'll say that their computer is infected and that they need to call their paid support service to remove the infection. So some of the things that users need to look for there is the phone number, first of all. As you can see in this example here, it says call for support, 1-855-309-0456. And please, nobody call that number. But that's kind of their first clue on these tech support scams, is that they're being asked to call a 1-855 number or some other type of toll-free number. In the district, we are not going to have a pop-up telling you to call for support to a toll-free number. So you need to convey that to the users and also, yourselves that, hey, this isn't a legitimate thing to do. So don't call that number. If anyone ever is going to contact a user to contact tech support, it's going to be the help desk, and it'll be the help desk number. So please advise the users not to call these numbers. And what happens usually is when they call this number, they get another person, they get a person on the line, and this person tries to take over their computer. And what they do is they usually either tell them to follow a link, and that'll download some remote desktop control software onto their desktops. And they'll start taking control of the machine, and they'll be asking them to do a bunch of different things. And at this point, the malicious actor is going to try to see where they can get to. They might install some other sort of software that's going to probably track that user's typing. So they're going to probably try to capture their passwords and usernames for the sites that they go to. So, that's pretty bad, and we don't want that to happen. So just need to let the users know, don't call these numbers. This scam is not legitimate. It's, we would never do this, and we would never tell them to call a toll-free number. So next I want to cover, what do we want the users to do? What do I do if I get a phishing email? Well, number one, like we said before, don't click on any links. Those links could be sending them to a malicious site, sending them to a fake site that could be asking them for their credentials. So we don't want them to click on any of those links. If this user does click on the link and they did provide information, we need to let them know. They need to notify the help desk immediately. They need to let them know as soon as possible, and let the help desk know what they provided. What information did they provide? Did they provide their username and their password for their Active Directory? Did they provide their ESS username and password? So they need to let the help desk know as soon as possible. They can also contact you guys. You're basically the front line of defense. As the TSSs, you guys are there to help them out and direct them in the right place. So definitely let them know, call the help desk, because you guys can help them out, and you can tell them that this isn't the right thing to do, don't click on this, and ask them all the information. But if they call the help desk, then security can get an assignment to that, and then we can take a look at it and we can investigate further. We can try to make sure that their credentials are safe. We can also make sure that if their account was compromised, that their passwords get reset as soon as possible, so that way they can't, they're not going to lose, their financial information or personal information. Because if somebody gets their ESS credentials, they can log in and they can find their W-2, which has their social security number. They can log in and set up a direct deposit to, whatever account that the bad person wants to. So, the threat is pretty serious. So please let them know that they need to contact you, their TSSs, and then contact the help desk. The next thing they need to do is forward that email to the help desk at NISD.net. This helps the help desk and my security team have a copy of that email so we can see what the URL is. That way we can block it as soon as possible. Because if anybody else received that same email and they're not aware that they shouldn't click on that link, then they might click on that link. And if the sooner that we can block that in our web filters and on our on the PAN, the firewall, then the sooner that we can protect our users who do click on that. So once they've forwarded that email to the help desk, they've contacted TSS, and they've you guys have let the help desk know. What they need to do is mark that email as spam and then delete that email. And then they need to delete that from the trash bin, so that way it's not just sitting there lingering for them to, accidentally go in and find it again and click on that link. They also need to advise all of their staff members of the incident. Word of mouth is very helpful in these incidents, because if, they let their, fellow teachers know, they let their principal know, and then that word gets out, then people are aware of this email and they know not to click it, or at least they know to contact you, the TSSs, or the help desk. So if they've received that email, if they get the word, then, they need to advise them to follow the same procedures. They need to notify the TSS, call the help desk, forward that email to the help desk, and then delete it, mark it as spam and delete it from the trash. So that way there's, no trace of that malicious email. So what does a user do if they get a tech support scam pop-up? Well, number one, do not click any links. Of course, just like the phishing emails. This could lead them to downloading some malicious files or some malware that would allow a malicious actor to take control of their computer. We also don't want them to call any numbers. Just like I said, the toll-free numbers that pop up and the little pop-ups that say they have a virus, we don't want them to call those numbers, because that's the wrong thing to do. Those are the bad guys. What they need to do is advise all of their, all the staff of the incident, just like we're asking them to do with the phishing emails, to get the word of mouth out. Let them know what the procedures are. notify you guys, the TSS, and call the help desk. There isn't going to be an email here for them to forward. So they just need to let everybody know, hey, this is what happened. I got this pop-up, and not call the numbers. That's really the most important thing on these scam supports, tech support scams, is to not call that number, because once they call that number, then they're on the phone with somebody who's malicious and trying to do bad things. So hopefully, you guys can pass that along and everybody will listen and, be aware of that. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to cover today is acceptable use policy. Just to clear up any kind of question on what is a violation of the acceptable use policy, what form do I use to report one, and what do I need to do? Immediate action needs to be taken, and I'll explain why. And then when in doubt, if you're not sure if something is a violation of the acceptable use policy, then call the help desk. The help desk is there to help you out with figuring out whether someone did something wrong or didn't do something wrong. And the help desk is not very far from my office and the rest of my security team. So they're able to get to us and ask us those questions. Hey, I'm getting this call from a TSS at this campus, Rudder, for example, and they say a teacher did this or a student did that. Is this a violation of the acceptable use policy? And we can definitely help clear that up and make sure that, if it is, then we need to take action. If it isn't, then we can let you know that it's not a violation. So what is an AUP violation? Okay, so it's any conduct on a district technology resource that does not follow the guidance provided by Appendix D of the Employee Handbook. So I know we've all read the Employee Handbook, right? That was kind of a rhetorical question because I know sometimes people don't, but just in case you didn't, Appendix D is the acceptable use violation policy. And the key here is district technology resource. So if somebody did something on their personal phone or their personal device, if they're not connected through a district technology resource, so they're not on a district iPad, they're not on a district Chromebook, they're not on a district computer, laptop, then it may not be an AUP violation. But like I said, if you're in doubt or if you have any question, then definitely notify the help desk. So, just further information on what an AUP violation is. If you go to, if you've got a teacher or a student that goes to a site they're not supposed to go to because it's inappropriate material, then that's an AUP violation. We need to know as soon as possible. And the reason why we need to know as soon as possible is because sometimes, especially on Chromebooks or any other devices, sometimes we can't get to that history as soon as possible. And sometimes that IP address is going to change. So the sooner that we know that information, the user's information, the IP address or the the ID of that computer, then we can look up that computer and we can look at the traffic that it's been traveling on through our network, on our filters, and through our firewall. So that's why it's important to get us that information as soon as possible. So right now, what I'm showing you is the AUP form. If you've got a violation, this is the acceptable use policy violation form. You can put in there your information, and you can get to this form by going to the NISD.net/employees. That'll take you to our employee intranet site. And if you just type in cybersecurity in the search and go to the cybersecurity page, it'll have a link to this AUP form. So you can find it there very easily and provide that information. So that way we can take action as soon as possible. So along with submitting this AUP form, you can also call the help desk and let them know that you've submitted this AUP form. So that way we can be aware of it as soon as possible, just in case we're not, we don't get the email right away or anything like that. As I said before, just to reiterate, immediate action is definitely necessary. So fill out the form, notify the help desk immediately. That way we can do as thorough a report as we can, get the current IP address and the current user's information, so that way we can start tracking that information as soon as possible. Because, I mean, if somebody reboots that computer or that Chromebook, IP address, the user could log on to another computer, and that makes it a lot harder for us to track that information. So getting us that information as soon as possible is very important. A little bit more information about why we need to take immediate action. Also, I need to correct my information a little bit that I gave you. As far as that AUP form, that's going to be administration. They should be the only ones to fill out that form. So campus administration. So as TSSs, if you notice an AUP violation or possible AUP violation, please notify the campus administration as soon as possible. Okay, so that's all the information that I'm going to provide today. I'm going to open it up to any questions. I do see that there are some questions already. So myself and my team will go ahead and address those. So the first question I'm going to take is, what if they are on their device but on NISD Wi-Fi? That's a good question. Well, the thing is, they're using NISD Wi-Fi, so yes, that would be an AUP violation, because the key, as I said before, is district resources. If they're using our wireless, NISD, Genesis, then we can still investigate that. It will be tracked through our firewall and through our filters, and we can take a look at the information on what was looked at and the originating IP address. So very good question, Teresa. I hope that answers your question. Any more questions? All right, I see a note, a comment from Claire McLean, stating it's very simple for students to wipe their search history in Chrome. Yes, it is, and that's why it's important for us to get that information as quickly as possible, because if we can see, if you know what device they were on, and we can get their IP address as soon as possible, then regardless of whether they wipe their history or not, we can still see that internet traffic through our filters. So great comment by Claire. All right, the next question, what about phone phishing scams? That's, I think, Timothy, when you talk about phone phishing scams, are you talking about somebody calling like a district telephone or even your own personal phone or work cell phone to try to ask you questions? All right, thanks for clarifying that, Timothy. That's another great comment. Absolutely. We need to also inform our users about those. Definitely, we don't want to provide any information. If they do call, and we have had calls like that before, they need to, let them know that they're going to contact the help desk. And usually a lot of the times, the person that is calling saying that they are a third-party company offering tech support, usually the person on the other end of the phone will say, oh, no, you don't have to call the help desk. But if they have to be persistent and let them know, I'm going to call my help desk and let them know, and ask that person for their information, and then call the help desk and let the help desk know, so that way they can provide that information to my security team, so that way we are aware of it. But great comment, Timothy. Absolutely, that's another way that they go about it. They try to do social engineering over the phone, and we definitely want our users to be aware of that and to not provide information. Okay, so the next question by Catherine Casser is the use of a VPN an AUP violation? That's a good question, because a lot of students, the VPNs are out there and they'll do whatever they need to do to try to get around our filters or any safeguards that we have in place. So absolutely, VPN is an AUP violation because they are using district resource still, and they're trying to circumvent the filters and protections that we have in place. So absolutely, Claire. Sorry, whoever said that. Catherine, sorry about that. So yes, that is a AUP violation. So Claire McLean with the question, where can we find the link for admin to access the AUP reporting form? That link can be found at the employees portal, and I'll actually I'm going to put that link in this question and answer real quick. So just give me a second. So if you guys, for that AUP violation form, if you guys log on to the employee portal at nic.net/employees, you can type up in the search for cybersecurity. And if you click on that cybersecurity link, you're going to get to our cybersecurity page. And it doesn't have a lot of stuff yet. I'm pretty new to the position, and we're trying to populate that with information that's helpful to everybody here in the district. But if you go in there, you'll see the link for the AUP form. Okay, and I can't send that to you guys in the chat, but if you go there, you should be able to find that. Okay, and some great tips by Gabriel and Joshua. The rule of thumb: if you don't recognize the caller ID, don't pick it up. That's perfect. I don't like to call answer the phone for anybody who I don't know or recognize, because just like you said, a lot of times it's a sales call and they're trying to sell you something. But it could also be one of those scams where they're trying to get you to call it's their tech support and they're trying to help you, but they're really trying to get into their stuff. Absolutely. If it's important, then they'll leave a message. Okay. And just another comment about incognito mode. So if you've got a user who is using incognito mode, they shouldn't do that because obviously they're trying to hide their activity and they're probably trying to do something that they shouldn't do. But the thing is, it's still visible on our filters because they're still going over our NISD resources, so we're able to track their activity through our filters and the firewall. So if you do see somebody doing something like that, that could also lead to an AUP violation, and you can get that information as soon as possible. Also, get the IP address and the system name, the username, provide that to a member of administration and have them submit that AUP form. Same thing with cleaning the history. We still see it on the filters. So if somebody does clear their history, as long as we have that IP address for the computer and the username, we can find out where they've been. As far as blocking phone numbers, I see Teresa asked, do we have a way to block callers? That's a good question. And that question or that request would actually go to our phone guy, David Anderson. And the best way to get to him would probably be to call the help desk and let them know you've got a number that you need blocked. You can provide a trouble ticket to Mr. Anderson and have him take care of that for you. That's a great idea, Catherine. As far as making that video required watching at the beginning of the year, like our normal annual training, that's a great idea, and it's already great minds think alike, Catherine, because that's exactly what we're thinking as well. I think that would be awesome too, Timothy. So any more questions? All right, John just let me know that he sent out the link to the AUP form to all of you. So that should help a lot with providing that to your administration if you do find a violation and need them to submit that form. Thank you very much, John. Sarah just asked the question, should we be wary of oversharing with staff? Absolutely not. Any of the information that I provided with you to you today would be great to share with the staff. That's absolutely what I'd like for you to do, because what we want is for, of course, you guys to be that front line of defense, but we also want the staff to be aware of what they need to do if they receive an email that looks fishy. We also want them to be able to identify an email that looks fishy before they, click on the link or have something bad happen to them, because we want to protect our networks, we want to protect our users, and we definitely want to protect our students. If a bad person gets into our network, they have access to a lot of information, and some of that information is student information, and we definitely want to keep that secure. So absolutely, please feel free to share with the staff. Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate the comment. So does anybody have any more questions? Hey, thanks, Anna. Have a great day yourself. So if there aren't any more questions, I just want to say thank you all for attending. I appreciate all of your comments and all your questions. Oh, hold on. Looks like we got one more question from Melanie. a way for technology to install net support school app to other computers in the library for librarian to monitor student activities? That's a good question. And Melanie, I'm just going to make a note of that because I don't know the question to that. I mean, the answer to that question right off the bat. I'm being told that net school support is licensed per campus. But I'll try to find out some more information on that and shoot that out there to you guys, okay? And like I said, thanks again, everyone, for attending. I really appreciate you guys hopping on and paying attention. Please feel free to share the information that was provided today to the staff. The more aware that everybody is, the more secure that we can be. We definitely want to keep our network and our information safe. And we want everyone to be able to call the right numbers if they need to. So just as a reminder, you know, if they come to you with an issue, please direct them to call the help desk and have them put in a ticket and let them know that they're having a problem or they're getting something fishy or they clicked a link or anything like that. That's the quickest way for us to track it and for us to take action. So once again, thanks again, and have a great day, everybody.